this is the same page. I'm just running this in the browser on my desktop. Now, I'm actually tricking you here. The web browser that I've opened up is not your normal everyday web browser. I've opened up Chrome Canary. I don't know if any of you know Google Chrome Canary. It's a browser that developers use to test things and see what they look like. So I'm getting some nods. People know what I mean. So the same stuff here. It's just text. It's text in here. This is just HTML, all selected inside there. But I have the ability in here not only to use these built-in filters that I just showed you, but I also have the ability to use these custom filters as well. So I can start to sort of scroll through. Let's zoom out a little bit. I've got all of these different ones down here. I could choose something, I don't know, maybe curtains. And then what I can do with my page, remember this is CSS. There's no sort of weird, in fact in this case it's slightly different because it's a custom filter. This is a filter that you can actually write yourself or get a developer to write for you. And you can see on here that what I'm able to do is just start to change content on the page just by changing the parameters of that filter on the page. Remember, this is CSS. I can do this with any content. And in fact, the cool thing about it is because it's CSS, I can also animate it. So I can even on a web page start to do an animation like this and start to play it and have my content. Let's just move that over a little bit further. So I might have a web page here that like opens up. Can you imagine every single web page in the world when you go to it opening with curtains? How cool would that be? I am obviously joking. Please don't. If the next time I come back to Jakarta, every web page opens. But I can add some other ones in there. I can add things like, oh, God forbid, a page curl. So how do I, no? Oh, yeah. Oh no, not that one. So remember, all this is done inside CSS. Oh, I've ruined that a bit. Where's the curve? Oh, curve radius? Yeah, look, I can actually have, pages curve, and all this is just done inside CSS. I can get rid of that one. Let's add maybe a sphere in here. And where's the, and I can even sort of, rotate it. I actually did one of these. I built one inside Edge Animate, which I'm going to talk about later. I built this one here. This is just a flat, all I took was a flat image. Took it into Edge Animate, added a little thing. So this is what I did inside Edge Animate. It's just running inside a page. There's a little fish jumping. I did that inside. I think he's in that. Yeah, he's over here in that. Yeah, there he is. Big fish. Okay, so let me show you some of the other things that we're doing. Some of those other filters. So these are custom filters that will be available sort of in the future. But if you also look on here, it's a little bit slow. We'll see how we go. So you'll see at the top here, I'm not going to jump into it because it'll take too long to load things up. But do you notice here I'm using a rounded rectangle. So it's just a div with the rounded corners with the text wrapping nicely inside that. And it's very simple to create. It's all done inside CSS, so I can have very different shapes with text wrapping. Sorry, let me do this for a second. It's still installing over there. Okay, and also with the blend modes, let me show you the blend modes as well. See how long that takes to open. So here you see I've just got an animation, I've just got an image in the background with an animation with some colours sitting over the top of it. But you notice that what I'm able to do is I'm able just through CSS to change the blend modes of these images. So I can just go to multiply. I can go to screen, I can go to overlay, all of these darken. This is all just done in CSS, and this is what we see as the sort of some things that you'll be able to do in the future of the web. The cool thing is that this is actually starting to become available already. You saw me on my iPad already show some of those simple filters on there. Over the next, and things like Google Chrome has already included things like the custom filters in their, inside their public beta. But also, there are browsers over the next few months, keep your eye out, we're starting to see browsers adopting things like the CSS regions. So it's in a very short amount of time, you'll actually be able to start using CSS regions and wrap text nicely around objects as the browsers start to support it. So that's just one of the things. So I'm just going to run this again. Okay. I just want to talk about some of the new tools that we've built for the web as well, because obviously it's all very well building technologies and giving them back to the industry. That's great, and that's something that we're going to continue doing. But also, we noticed that out there for the modern web, for HTML5, for CSS3, there aren't a lot of really good tools out there in the industry. So a couple of years ago, we started building a whole new family of tools called the Edge Tools and Services. And I'm going to show you some of those today, some of the cool things in them. But we've developed all of these different tools that enable you to do different things with the modern web. And I'm just going to run through them really quickly here because I'm going to show them to you, or some of them to you later. So Edge Animate, do you remember a few years ago if you used, if you saw a website, and on a website things are flying in and it's all exciting, like awesome website, it was usually Flash. It was usually Flash. And you would say, you know, the website that you'd see and you'd tell your friends, go and look at this, oh my God, how cool is this? It was usually Flash. It was awesome. And that's because Flash was able to do things that you couldn't do in a web page normally without Flash. But now with HTML5 and CSS3, you can do incredible things in a web page. With HTML5 and CSS3, you can start to make things really interactive and dynamic on a page. And so in order to enable you to do that, we built a tool called Edge Animate that enables you to not just build animations on the web, but also interactions on the web. The same sorts of things that you used to use Flash for, you can now use Edge Animate to build some really, really cool stuff on the web. And I'll show you this a little bit later. Okay, that's what it looks like, but I'm going to show you it later. Okay, the next problem, I've talked about some things that we're facing web designers these days. And one of the biggest issues is these things, is tablets, not just iPads, but Android, whatever brand tablet you like, as well as mobile phones, smartphones. And the reason that they're a problem is because the majority of the web, in fact 95% of the web today, has been designed for these things, or desktops, big screens, not little screens. And in fact, I'm sure you've all had the experience if you're on a smartphone and you open up a website and you go to the website on your smartphone and you have to go. And because it wasn't built for a phone, it was built for a desktop. 95% of the web is still optimized for a desktop and not mobile devices. That's a huge task for all of web designers and developers around the world. That's the thing that they're busiest with at the moment, is rebuilding the web to make sure that they work on devices and tablets and smartphones. The best way to do that is a thing called responsive design. This is not Adobe, this is an industry standard or move at the moment for building responsive websites, so that they're not just websites squashed down, but they're actually optimized for the different interfaces and different sizes. So we built a tool called Reflow. And Reflow is a really cool tool that enables you to build responsive design really, really simply. And you know the best thing about it? You can do it without writing a line of code. It will do all of that for you, write all the CSS for you. So it's pretty cool. That's what it looks like. I'm going to show you later. Okay, for you guys, one of the things that's most important to you, and I know there's a bunch when you design, but one thing that's really, really important to you guys is typography. Having your design with the correct fonts, the nice fonts that really make it leap out of a page. So a few years ago, we acquired a company called Typekit, and Typekit enables you to put really high-quality fonts and font families onto your website without sort of being restricted. So in the past, the way you do fonts in the past on the web is use the font tag, and in fact use the font face tag, so you can choose like different fonts, hoping that the user has those fonts on their machine. And in fact, and that's sort of what it looks like, the control you had. But the only fonts that were available in the past were these ones. This was all you could use on a web page in the past. Actually, it's missing my favourite one. So this was all you could use in the past on a web page. That's pretty restrictive. So now using web fonts, you're able to actually really choose some really high quality web fonts from around the world to use on your website. So inside Typekit we have over 1,200 different font families from a whole range of different foundries around the world. So that's Typekit, but what we decided to do as well was that we would get together with Google, and I don't know if you know Google Web Fonts. Google Web Fonts is a whole big collection of free fonts to be used. We got together with Google and we've taken all of Google's web fonts and a whole bunch of Adobe fonts as well, and we've put them on the web and called them Adobe Edge Web Fonts, and these are available to you free. All of them just to use free. You don't have to even use any of our software to use them. Just go home and start using them straight away. There are basically hundreds and hundreds of fonts on there, and we're adding to those all of the time. They're open URL, so you can just go and use them straight away. We curate it, we manage it, but Google is supporting us on that.